With Hulick trapped on a distant space prison, his comrades, an honest old man, are ready to start a plan to get him out. Alan goes under disguise once again as a doctor to inject Hulick with a device that will make him appear to be dead, but he needs to be revived later. The viewer doesn't know this at first, so it does make it appear that Hulick actually died. In the jail, he bumps into two big prisoners, but they were supposed to meet regardless, as they are comrades of Miranda and part of the plan. The unfortunate Hulick didn't even know that him getting beaten was part of it, so that he may be sent to get care and run into Alan, who was disguised as a doctor. The two big guys bully him and beat him as a result. Once sent to care, Alan meets him there and injects him according to plan. However, Zarlish, eager to please his mom's wishes of bringing Hulick back, dead or alive, goes to war with the planet holding Hulick in prison. Ajuman, back in Tytania, decides to just let this happen. The man in control of Esterol, however, the planet that Zarlish decided to go to war with, is a proud and dignified president who wants the best for his people and gives Zarlish a tough time about simply handing over Hulick. Amidst the chaos, the prison goes under attack due to the impatience of Zarlish. This makes things difficult for Alan, who is unable to get Hulick's deceased-like body out. He finds a way out eventually, but is taken down by the space prison security system. In times of riots or other dangerous moments, they can increase the gravity, sending all people affected into the ground and unable to get up. Alan sees defeat, but is joined by the two big prisoners from before, who, because of their immense size and strength, are barely able to help Alan push Hulick's body into another room, where Alan and Hulick can board the ship. Because of the war going on outside, Alan then becomes unable to exit until a blast breaks open a door for him, or a giant gate, actually. Finally, Hulick returns to his crew's safety. Back in Tytania, Idris gets a lot of backstory. He was the child of a father who worked himself to death despite Idris' pleads to take it easy. At the same time, his dad was worried because Idris was deemed too incompetent to become head of the family, while all the others like Jocelyn, Zarlish, and Aryabart were already deemed successors by the Lord by that time. But now Idris seems much more sinister, and seems to want to take over as the new Lord. He knows well and good Jocelyn is a threat and might want to eradicate him. Elsewhere, Balami nearly gets sniped with a headshot. Hulick then meets Sarah, who sort of becomes his next love interest. He asks her to make him an omelet, though she only agrees if they are successful in the mission. Eventually, Zarlish finds Hulick hiding and moves in to try to capture him. However, by this time, Hulick manages to ally with several people who are against Tytania. A large war is waged, where even Tytania is struggling as their soldiers with special night gear get blinded by flash grenades and slaughtered. Even Honest Old Man gets somewhat destroyed, not before Hulick makes one more plan involving the remaining parts that are still functional. Zarlish flies with his flagship over the desert, while Hulick and his comrades prepare to time one last shot from the wreckage of Honest Old Man. Once Zarlish is right above the ship, they launch a strike which heavily damages the flagship, bringing it down. Zarlish emerges and enters the cave with the last of his men. If they can't do it, he says, he'll do it with his bare hands. Once inside, the last of his soldiers lose to the CO2 emissions from the caves. They pass out. Zarlish is more resistant, and though it blurs his vision and makes him somewhat dizzy, he goes on to beat many of Hulick's comrades, and easily. Hulick himself eventually intervenes and threatens to shoot, but Zarlish, in a Looney Tunes manner, throws a rock at Hulick, breaking the surface he was standing on, and bringing him down near him. But Zarlish can't see properly and doesn't recognize it's Hulick. Hulick gets beaten and nearly killed, but eventually is given a gun by Sarah, and for once gains the desire to kill, shooting Zarlish. More men on Hulick's side appear, and Zarlish gets executed, shooting guard style. Before he dies, he gets to see Hulick's face clearly, and dies realizing that was the man that managed to kill him. They all leave, and the news hits Tytania. The poor mother, who lost so much already, has to deal now with another devastating loss. He lets out a horrifying scream upon finding out. A grand funeral is held as Jocelyn, Idris, Aryabart, and Ajman think to themselves this was doomed to happen. One of them had to go down. Hulick is too powerful. But they have something to do. But they have to do something quick, because this is a devastating psychological blow to Titania's invincible image in the universe. Hulick and the rest celebrate at a bar in the remote planet and go on happily, at least until the next part of the war. Lydia continues to write happily to Balami No more of her is shown, but I'm sure she is destined to be a great ruler someday. This ends Tytania. The mistake many make here is to think that the story ends here. It doesn't. Though the anime is done, and many years went by, Yoshiki Tanaka will continue off after the novel's cancellation and write 2 more volumes, making it 5 total, finally concluding the story of Tytania. Maybe one day the last 2 chapters will get translated, or last volumes rather. In my next, and possibly last Tytania video, I'll talk about what happens in those final 2 volumes, as it is near impossible in the West to find them. Overall, this was a great follow-up to Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and I would recommend it to anyone who wants another Yoshiki Tanaka space opera, since both are of the same author. Tytania is nowhere near the greatness of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, but watching Jocelyn and Fan Hulick go about in space struggling is still an amusing story. However, I would have liked Hulick to show off more of his genius. Also, Zarlish was a bit too cartoony at times. But it's a great series. I've already looked ahead at what happens in volumes 4 and 5. And it's going to get very chaotic. Thank you for listening.